Bringing it back to the council. Who wants to start this? Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
I want to start with a story to shock my Earth Day friends. Only 6% of the stuff that you spend all day sorting to put in the recycle bin gets recycled. It's been that way for a long time, almost 10 years. I had a conversation with the previous city manager, John Lawless, about this some years ago. And there was a time in every city in California when we actually had a benefit of recycling. There was some money in it. That ended around 2016, 2017, nearly 10 years ago. This city used to get $500,000 in KISS money from that recycling program. So part of the state mandate that says we have to recycle, we got money for it initially. It went from an unfunded mandate to an abusive mandate when we aren't able to recover that money. So it went from a $500,000 KISS in this city's budget 10 years ago to a $500,000 bill. That's $1 million times 10 years. We wonder why we started using some financial gimmicks in that same period when we stopped balancing the budget. This is one of the factors of the many of the unfunded mandates of the wonderful state, one-party state, communist state of California that we live in. Laugh it off, because you're promoting it. The issue here is this is not going to get any better. In that conversation with John Lawless, there was a conversation about ordering electric vehicles to do this, to comply with the next mandate that's coming, which is have this in electric fleet. Right at the moment when we were looking at 8 or 9 buses that are sitting over in our yard that were $900,000 a piece that don't work. So we elected as a city not to do that a few years ago, and I thought that was a good move. Now sitting in this position, we're looking at this 2027 clean fleet requirement, and it says we're going to have to get electric. Well, at this moment in time, if we outsource this organization, there's an exception for this. I think it's worth looking at, because if we don't look at alternatives for this, it's going to be a huge expense and we're not going to be able to keep up with it. And the grant money's running out, or has already run out. If I look back in the rearview mirror, I think it's gone. What grant money was there for things that didn't work. The story I tell you is it's shock and awe. Do we waste enough time every day trying to sort things to save Mother Earth? I think we waste too much. We need to get back to living our lives. That's my personal opinion. I say all that to say this: if we can go out and get some cost comparisons, we still take care of our people, we get better service, and we can lower the rates. Can you imagine we raised our rates 88% so that we could pay for an unfunded mandate from the state? Think about it. That's what we did. And we're going to keep doing it unless we change course. This gives us an opportunity to look at options and maybe change course. I heard some comments from Richard Caglia and Keith, of a family organization that's in this business, 90 years, good service, family-oriented. Sounds good to me. Let's go look at it. I would like to, and I've seen these things go in a bad way. In business, I'll give you a good example. We replaced the lighting in a gigantic building one time. We made a deal to replace the lights. Contract said replacing all the lights. Well, when we got down to the office space, that wasn't written into the contract. When we ended up doing the rest of the contract, the contractor lost money on that deal because he said he's going to replace all the lights. We got to be careful with this. There's people's lives involved, sure. I think we'll take good care of them, but there's a good track record with a family-oriented business. We need to make sure that if we are going to do, like we did last week, cleanup events, that's included. We need to look at possibly partnering with the county to do a transfer station at our dump so that we don't have to drive all the way to Woodville. We've got a problem with going out to Woodville now, besides the increased energy costs and the increased rates and the increased demands, that we need to make sure that we're providing the right amount of service for the amount of money that people are paying for it, because everybody's hurting. And to think that a lot of this money is going to pay for a mandate to move stuff around that really doesn't save the earth, nonsense to me. What I want to do is, if we go forward with this, is I want to make sure that we got, a really comprehensive look at this, because I'd like to have something that says in our downtown areas that we secure these areas where we have trouble with people jumping in the trash cans. That needs to be part of the solution. If we go after a solution, we need to solve that. I want to look at the service analysis so that we maintain full control, we don't lose any control, and we make sure and take care of the service. If we can get everybody to pick up the trash on the same day, if it's 1 or 2 or 3 barrels, that would be great. So the big budget item here is this, and here's the final.
This is the garden hose nozzle my team spent 3 years building, because every pressure washer on the market kept letting.
The franchise fees that we can develop through the budgeting process would give us a boost. We could get better service, we could take care of our people, and get a boost on the budget, we can balance the budget. We should be able to close the gaps we have with the library shortfall that we have, which is a few $1,000,000. We should be able to operate that library. This would be a good comparison to that. So I'm all for this. I want to get on the record and just kind of do a little shock and awe with everybody, because that's straight truth. And I'll debate it with anybody in the room and anybody online. And I just want to make that point, and I want to say I want to go forward with this. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you, Vice Mayor McCurby. Councilman Rivas, do you have any comments?
Yeah, you said pretty much what I wanted to say, Mr. Vice Mayor. I do remember one time when I was working for the, before I retired, the city